Let's talk about the remarkable generosity that we're a generous nation, we Brits, aren't we? Well, the generosity that we show to asylum seekers, I would argue, goes a little bit too far. As I said, we've had a caller who suggests that asylum seekers are even getting pilot lessons, how to fly aircraft, which conjures up all sorts of horrific thoughts, as Tim Montgomery just said, 9/11, that kind of thing. But I think we're only talking about 2 or 3, if that story is true. But what we do know is that there's a thing called the Asylum Seeker Support Scheme, which is local authorities all over the country, with national money as well as local money, have ploughed through a staggering £6.6 billion in 5 years. This is for treats, basically. Bizarre outlays such as paying for their TV licences, trips to the bowling alley, the cinema, so the local trampolining centre. Trampolining. This is the new thing that the reformed Doge department have discovered. Well, we preempted Zia Yusuf and Reform's Doge, because this programme about 2 months ago exclusively revealed that Kent County Council spent £24,000 in a single year paying for asylum seekers driving lessons and tests, and so on and so forth. These are they take them on day outings, they give them free stuff, free TV licences, free driving lessons, trips to the cinema, the local sports centre, trampoline, blah, 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 blah. It is mad, isn't it?
Well, it's certainly mad, but it's also extremely offensive. You know, lots of people listening to this programme now, Kevin, won't be able to afford to do those things for their own families. And so when they hear that taxpayers are funding those things for people that perhaps shouldn't even legitimately be here, then I can hear some blood boiling, really. And yeah, we're a good nation, Britain, and we should be proud of when we've helped people in need. But I'm afraid a lot of the people we're helping at the moment are just people taking advantage of our generosity.
Taking advantage of a kind of middle-class guilt trip kind of approach to life. Yeah. It is, oh, these poor foreigners, let's help them, let's help them. Well, let's think about the foreigners. As I just said, something like 80–90% of them throw their passports into the channel. Why do they do that? I'll tell you, for nefarious reasons. They arrive here illegally. They effectively break into our country with no respect for our borders or our laws. And yet once they're in, we treat them as if they're honoured guests, and we shower them with gifts and treats. I don't understand that.
One of the great mysteries, I think, of our country at the moment is, take our colonial history. There was definitely bad parts of it, but you look at our involvement in slavery. Yes, we're involved in slavery, but also the Royal Navy went around the world demolishing slave ports. I think as much was spent in the equivalent terms demolishing the slave ports as we spent in World War II. Britain did something really good at the end of slave trade. We tried to put an injustice right. Yet our children in our schools are only taught the bad side of British history too often. They're not told the full story. And I think why we perhaps behave as we do to those asylum seekers is a misplaced sense of guilt.
Yeah,
and of course we have some things we should be ashamed of. But overall, whether you look at the technologies we've shared in the world, our role in World War II, our role in recent times, we're a good nation. But if people have an idea that they've given by school, by broadcasters, by other people, that we're a bad nation, maybe they think this is justified, this spending. But it's a misunderstanding of British history and our values.
But it also feeds into why the rape gang scandal was allowed to prosper. It's because middle-class British people felt too guilty to tell the truth about it. Who's doing this?
Yep.
Oh, we don't want to know. Well, it's actually Muslim men of Pakistani origin. Oh, let's keep quiet about that. That doesn't really fit into our worldview. So it all feeds into...
Well, the worst thing that anyone can be accused of in their left-wing mindset for a long time is to be a racist.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if you're accused of a racist, it's like career ending. It's your end of your political career. It's the end of your career in local government. And so it's so damaging, people were willing to turn a blind eye to the abuse of young girls.
I know.
Because
That's what I said.
When you spell it out like that, it sounds impossible.
They prioritise.
But that's what happens.
They prioritise their own fears about being accused of racism or Islamophobia over the welfare and safety of thousands of young girls who are being systematically raped and tortured. A lot of these people, the coppers, the teachers, the social workers, the local politicians, they knew all about it, but wouldn't say anything because they might get charged or accused of racism. That is twisted on an epic scale. It's really, really twisted, and we've got to break out of that mindset. Before you go, Tim, I can't let you go without getting a kind of overview from you of just how damaging the past couple of days have been to Keir Starmer, the U-turn. Many people saying, well, hang on a second, we all knew years ago just how serious this was. I don't like public inquiries, but sometimes there are issues where I don't see there's any other solution, and this is one of them. He alone and some of his cabinet acolytes 6 months ago didn't seem to realise, there's no need for an inquiry. If you think we need an inquiry, you're a far-right racist. You know, you're an extremist. Yeah. You know, how damaging has this been? We've only got 30 seconds.
It has been damaging, but the worst damage may be to come. Why did he not want that inquiry? Here's my suspicion, not uniquely my suspicion. As the stones are brought up off the earth and overturned, we will find out that there was many Labour councils and Labour officials who were involved in this, and they wanted to keep that hidden.
Can I just make one last point? Who was the Director of Public Prosecutions from 2008 to 2013, when nobody was arrested or prosecuted for a rape gang, raping? Oh, well, I know, it was Mr. Keir Starmer. He should have stayed Mr. Keir Starmer after that record. Tim Montgomery, great to see you as always.